Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Today the video is going to be about something I talked about in the other videos, and that is emotionally disconnecting. But I wanted to just let you understand the difference between emotionally disconnecting from a need and emotionally disconnecting from a want. And the reason I think that it's important to understand the difference is, again, yesterday I was talking with somebody about the videos and about some of these concepts. And I realize when I'm doing that, that some of the things aren't explained quite as in depth. So in the last video, I talked about the idea that after that, a blast for the defibrillator and after the blast of energy, how I had become emotionally disconnected um, from the emotions, so to speak. They're still there, but they're disconnected from allowing them to control run my life. And what I wanted to emphasize is that I disconnected from the emotional concept of needing something, not from the emotional connection of wanting something. When you have an emotional need for something, when you need something, you are one, focusing on a lack of, and two, whatever it is you are needing has gained power and control over you, power and control over your emotions as well. And it's understanding that the disconnection in one, because when I talked about that emotional disconnection, it made it sound kind of cold, made it sound kind of cruel, like no more feelings for others or anything else. And it's actually the opposite. When you have an emotional need for something like that, be it another person, be it things, particularly more for people that you need somebody to like you, or think you need to be with somebody in order for yourself to be happy down the road. That is coming from the ego mind point of being. It is very, very unbalanced, and it controls and consumes your entire mind. It's all you can think about because it becomes a need. You think you need it. You think you have to have that in order to move on. It could also be things. If you think you have to live at a certain address, or you have to have a certain type of clothes, or you have to have a certain friend, or whatever it may be that you have to have, if you have that emotional connection and it's a need, it controls you. It's not a balanced position. And you will never be able to move forward as long as you are stuck with that need. Now, the energies that we are moving into are about balancing out, or about moving beyond that point of needing someone or something in order to make your life complete. But it really applies a lot to people, that the idea is that you feel that you need someone else to be in your life in order for you to be complete, in order for you to be whole. Without them in your life, that life has no meaning, no purpose, that you can only be happy if they are with you, whether it's here, whether it's another reality line, a timeline, and dimension, or even another universe. And as long as you are focused on it from that point, you are never going to be there. It's just a simple fact. You will never be able to advance enough to the point to where you're going to be able to move forward, because you're stuck in that mind loop of need, and it becomes almost an obsession in your mind. You can't get that or them out of your head, and it's all you think about. So it's not balanced. And so when I said that I disconnected, what that disconnection was from the point of emotional need, thinking that I needed anything or anyone in my life in order to be happy, in order to be able to move forward. And in that time for the 2 weeks, when it was that sense of loss, that sense of emptiness of myself, of separation from myself, that's what that was. Also, the idea if you think you need the other person, they you see them as being outside of or beyond you. You see them as being separate. And it doesn't matter what kind of relationship, whether it's friend, family, soulmate, twin flame, whatever it may be, whatever type of relationship you're having, it it becomes unbalanced and obsessive. And it's in essence, that energy is going to drive the others away because they're a part of them will sense that need. They will feel it, and it will make them, in essence, run away or want to get away from the person whom they feel that overwhelming need from. Now, if somebody like a narcissist or someone, they may not, but in general, healthy people will feel that and they will want to move away from you. So basically, you're really, by having that such a strong emotional need, you are essentially driving away the individual, the people, the things that you really are actually think that you need. You're driving them away. You're not bringing them closer. So the concept of having emotional wants, and again, emotional want can also be detrimental depending on the level of it. If you have a deep want for something, it becomes a need. It's kind of like hiding the need underneath the want. Wanting something on that from that emotional level. Well, you have to be at a point of being balanced. You have to already know that you are complete, that there is nothing outside or beyond you, so that you can want things. I mean, you can want and desire different things. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you're already complete. I guess kind of use the analogy of the idea that, let's say you go to a really nice restaurant and you have a great dinner. I mean, just an incredible dinner. At the end of the dinner, you're satisfied. You could walk away that time and you would be just as happy. But then you decide to get some dessert. Dessert is the want. You could walk away after the meal, be completely satisfied and happy, or you could stay and you could have the dessert, which would be kind of it's like the extra topping. It's something that you want because you know that it's going to make you feel even better. It's going to enhance what you already have. But if you don't have it, you're not going to be any worse off than you were. And that's the difference between the concept of an emotional need and an emotional want. And it really applies with the idea here that we're getting with the changing of timelines, changing of dimensions, and even moving on forward to the 5D reality concept. And that is you can you can you're going to have things that you're going to want to experience and do, especially if you understand the 5DA concept of the reality. Did videos on that. I talk a lot about it in my book, but it's essentially a new universe that we are in the process of creating. It is combining the illusion of physicality of this reality here with emotions and feelings to a spiritual body, a light body, so to speak. Within the light body, you can't do as much as you can do within a physical body because you have simply because what's a light body? It's not a physical body. You don't accept the reality as being real around you. Therefore, how you interact and what you do is completely different. And you don't have the levels of feelings and emotions that you can have within the physical realm. And I've talked before that the idea of being in this reality is for us to learn feelings and emotions, to be able to experience those. And we came here to do that in order to be able to take the physicality, the acceptance of a reality, the illusion of a reality, the acceptance of it, to bring it into what we would consider to be a light body. And that's why I call it 5DA. 5D was the light body within the reality, but you didn't have the physicality. You couldn't really do as many things, even though you had your spiritual abilities. You didn't have so much the physical options as you had, and you didn't have all that feelings and emotions. By coming here to what we'd call the third dimension, which is we're actually out of that now. We're in the fourth dimension. But by coming through the third dimension and gaining the concept of feelings and emotions by experiencing them, gaining the concept of physicality, accepting it as being the real world, we're taking that back into the 5DA world so that we'll be able to have the option to do things in a physical sense, or you can do them simply by manifestation, by thought. You'll have the options to do it either way, but you'll also be able to allow yourself to move into the reality that you choose to experience on the level that you choose. In other words, you can have as deep into that reality, as deep into the vibration as you would like to go, so that you can have as much acceptance of it as you want. Um, and you'll also be able to experience the feelings and emotions besides the 5D concept of a more what they call unconditional love. Um, and that exists from that level of you. And that's what we'll also be having within the 5DA, because you won't have the the emotional need for what we call the love in this reality. You won't have that emotional need to have to be with somebody else that we have here, because there it's more of the unconditional love concept. You'll be able to understand and be able to feel each other, what each other is feeling. So that'll eliminate a lot of those kind of issues. And like I said, you'll be able to manifest things instantly with thought if you choose, or you can do it by hand. And I go through a lot of that in my books and other videos, so I'm not going to go into real depth in here. But that's the the concept of letting go emotionally of a need and having an emotional want. So when you go to the 5DA reality, if that's where you choose to go and you get there and you are with someone else, you will be with someone else because they've both chosen to do that. And because you know it's going to enhance the experience that you're going to have or whatever you're going to do. It's like the dessert. It's not something that you have to have and you would be fine without it if it wasn't there or if they weren't there. But you would still want them to be there so that you can have that experience with them. That is a healthy, balanced want to where you can walk away. And in this world here, it's the same thing with things and possessions. Is if you have things that you can't walk away from, particularly possessions, they control you. And you need to be able to let go of that feeling, that need that you have to have that. And without that, that you're going to be less than who or what you are, because you will not be who or less than what you are, uh, because of any object or any other person. So I want you to understand the difference on that. And when I talked about it, and I said, it's not a non-emotional state. It's not being cold. It's not being cruel. It's not being uncaring. And I still have the level of love that I have for those that I have it for. But if they weren't in my life in the way that they are, I can accept that, so to speak. But it doesn't mean that I don't want them to be in my life, because I know that that would enhance the experience. It would help to have more pleasure, more enjoyment from it. And so that is the difference. So like I said, the difference between those is balanced and unbalanced. So focus on being able to release the emotional need for things or other people to have to be in your life, and move to a more balanced position of wanting them there because of what they bring to you, what they bring to your life, or what the object brings to your life. It helps you do, but don't get to the point to where it totally controls you and that you'll be broken or think you'll be broken without them, because there is nothing outside of or beyond you. They are a part of you. They are connected to you, and they will never be gone per se. So let go of that kind of a concept. Anyway, I think that explains it. Any questions or anything, let me know. And thank you again to those of you who have watched the videos. If you watch it, click the like. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe so we can get a few of the numbers up and maybe change some of the algorithms on the YouTube channel. Anyway, thank you very much.